Welcome to the new episode in Rise and Clarity Insider. I'm glad that I have a great guest with me today, Sonia Singh, a transformational coach, and we're talking about today the emotion and the productivity leak of high performance people, wherever they work or whatever they do. So, welcome, Sonia, and glad that I have you today with me.
Thank you, Alain. I'm really excited about this conversation.
Yes. So, let's jump directly to the main topic. I see there's a common between the two newsletter. Usually, in my newsletter, I'm focusing on clarity and how to rise our standards. So, um, usually the high performance people and employees, they take decisions, they are productive, they work a lot without even thinking about their emotions and how they can transform their bad emotions or their feelings into a power asset to them. They only forget and just like work, and then at the end they fell into burnout, or they are like having bad decisions. So how do you frame this? And I see like your newsletter is like adding some added value to mine, because I'm always searching for clarity and like rising the and elevate the humanity and the skills in people. So yeah.
So that's a great question. Well, first of all, there's 9 leadership frequencies that I help people tune into, and when all of 9 of these are online, that's when we are really operating from our best selves, at our best version of our leadership identity. But what happens is we have all of these emotions that are running in the background that if we're not completely aware of them, don't know how they're impacting the way that we show up for ourselves and for others, then they can really negatively impact how you're impacting others. It can definitely impact how you feel. It can have some chronic um, impact on you. So the way that I think about it is the analogy that I like to think about is your phone battery. And this happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I started at the start of the day with a full battery, and by mid-afternoon it was already in the red, and I couldn't understand why. Why was it already drained? Because I hadn't used it for most of the day. And then when I looked, I noticed that I still had my navigation open, my maps open, and it was still running in the background. I had already gotten to my destination, but I forgot to hit the end.
Yeah.
It was still running, and I had all these other apps running in the background, and all of that was draining my battery without me even knowing, and not without me even realizing. I wasn't even using those apps, right?
Yes.
Running in the back.
Unconsciously.
Yeah. So unconsciously, we have all of these emotions that we carry with us, and thoughts and things that are just happening in the background. And until we stop and say, okay, what is happening right now? What am I experiencing? And create a little bit of awareness around that, we can't stop that drainage, right? We don't
Yeah.
know what's draining us. And sometimes it's like one or two little things. And if we can kind of, let me then figure out how to maybe take that offline, or that's not something I need to worry about right now, or take that kind of away, it kind of stops that drainage.
Yes. And do we have to wait until to define like some consequences or some productivity leak to identify the problem, or we can just like start realizing it, like as a proactive step? Because like usually they forget about it totally and just like falling into this productivity leak without even noticing. So how can we, just noticing before the deadline or before the that what happened?
Yeah, I would always start with a check-in with yourself at the start of the day. Where is my energy right now? How do I feel right now? And you can even do like a little scale, 1 through 5. 5 being I feel at my best, my highest. 1, I feel really depleted. Where's your energy right now? And if you're already starting the day in a depleted state, that's an opportunity for you to say, hey, let me figure this out. Let me do something to either raise my energy, or let me figure out what I can let go of to start raising my energy. But also, when you start at the top, you have all this, it's fully charged battery. It's still an opportunity for you to get really intentional about, okay, what are the things that I want to experience today? So it's not just the things that you have to get done. That's often what we all do, right? We have a to do
Yeah.
list. I need to do X, Y, Z. If I do all these things, then I'm good and I've succeeded. But we often neglect the experience that we want to have throughout our day.
Yes.
How do we want to feel? Who do we want to connect with? And really, what do you want to feel joyful? Do you want to feel peaceful? Do you want to feel excited today? Do you want to feel creative today? What do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? And then get intentional about what you do and think about to feel those things.
And if we don't ask these questions, like we leave ourselves, having some emotions framing into our body, or start just like go with the flow with the emotion, which is sometimes we do not identify this. Like we are not, um, as they said, like analyzing what's going on, like why my productivity is going down, like why my manager is like they don't happy about my performance, or why, like asking a lot of questions. So I think the first step, if we don't do that, if we don't go deeper into the problem, we're not gonna have a deeper solution or elevate solution or rise into another level. So I want just to clarify between the performance and productivity and the work, and how can we link it to the emotions, even if you're asking question. So how can we just link it to emotions and to identify what happened to us on spot?
Well, one of the things I would just say is that the simplest thing that you can do is build some pauses into your day. At the start of your day, throughout your day, at the end of your day. How many pauses do you have built in? Most people are just going from back to back meetings, from one reaction to the next reaction to the next reaction. You get an email, you react. Someone says something to you, they text you something, they ask you for something, you react. And we don't have these pauses built in to just stop and say, "Hey, where am I right now? What do I feel? What do I am my energy is my energy going down? Do I need to recharge right now?" We don't need to wait until the end of the day to do that assessment or that check-in. We want to be doing that throughout our day. So I would say as often as possible, even every hour, you could it's just a quick little check-in. Hey, how do I feel right now? What do I need right now to feel my best and to keep my energy up, to keep recharging, and kind of, if that becomes intentional and that becomes a practice, then you don't have to wait until something is wrong. You don't have to wait until you're completely depleted, because that's what ends up usually what happens, right? Most people are going without any pauses. They're just pushing through. They're overachievers, they're high performers. That's what's gotten them so far in life, right? They're achievers. They've accomplished so much, but that's not sustainable unless they also build in these pauses to stop and say, "Hey, am I climbing the right ladder? Is this still meaningful to me? Am I practicing my values?" Right? I've been pushing, doing all the things that people expect of me, that my boss wants me to do, that my family wants me to do, all these things that everyone else outside of us wants us to do or expects us to do. We're doing those things. But how is that helping us? And how are we showing up for ourselves? Is that energizing us, or is that depleting our energy? And so the very first thing I would say is just check in with yourself and build those intentional pauses. And it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It's literally like a 60-second pause every hour. 60-second pause. Okay, how am I doing right now? All right. Is there anything I need to do to raise my energy? Is there anything I need to do to lower my energy? Maybe I'm feeling really anxious right now and I actually need to calm down, right? So checking in with yourself throughout the day is, I find, really helpful.
And if we like continue by doing the job without even noticing how we feel, or if we are happy or not, so this gonna be, at the end of the day, um, very like problematic to us in general. because I see sometimes noise from stress, frustration, bad decision making, effective, like having bad impact to the team, the collaboration, taking bad decisions, decision making under pressure, reduced creativity. So even if it goes worse, can we still solve it in a way to go back to the track, even if like it takes time to do that?
Oh,
So
absolutely. There's always an opportunity to say, okay, let me just pause right now. Let me stop all the stuff that I'm doing. Let me stop and recalibrate. We always have an opportunity to recalibrate. Obviously, the longer we go, it may take a little bit longer, it may be a little bit harder to do. And so what the key is to keep practicing to make that period of time shorter and shorter so we can be more resilient in a shorter amount of time. But doesn't matter where you are right now. You can still stop right now and say, okay, let me recalibrate. Where am I right now? What are some chronic feelings or emotions that I've been experiencing maybe over the last 30 days? Let's just start there. What are some chronic thoughts that you've been having that are really bringing you down? What are some chronic emotions in your body? What are the things that are happening that you intuitively know that these something's not right? Your body is telling you. But if we just stop and pause and ask, okay, what is my body trying to tell me? Right? Oftentimes we're just pushing through, not even thinking about what our body is telling us. But if we stop and listen and we recalibrate, all of a sudden we start paying attention to that signal because our body's always giving us signals. It's like that tension that you feel in your body when you're asked to do something and this is completely misaligned with your values. You don't believe this is something that is so opposite of who you are and what you want to express into the world, but you're being asked to do it or you're being told to do it and you don't want to. Your body is saying no. It's screaming no. But
yes,
you go and do it anyway, that is gonna cause some if you start paying attention, it will cause something to happen in your body, some kind of tension, some kind of pain in your body. It will show up. And, so I would just say, yes, absolutely, you can recalibrate no matter where you are. You can start right now, and it starts with that pause.
yes, and even if we like, there's some people working 9 to 5 just to pay their bills without even having a goal or objective, and they just hide their emotions because they are afraid of their managers, afraid from their colleagues to take their places. So I think the capabilities to the self awareness is like something very have to be known. You know what I mean? Like the result of like the first question that we ask ourselves is the key to start. But linking to your Substack newsletter, um, there's just how do you see how do you help clients through Substack, and why you're ending up on Substack? And I want just to let the people know your services. And really, when they start asking questions and we start to know they have a problem in their jobs, how they gonna get back to you or from where they start.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a professional coach, executive coach, as well as life coach, right? So I work with mid-level to senior level leaders and helping them really get clear on what they want, get them to become that point three leader. That point three leader meaning someone who, in that point 3 seconds, when something happens outside of them, they gain control of their emotions. They don't let anything outside of them control and dictate what they do. They're really in control of themselves, and I help them do that through one-on-one coaching, through group programs, and through training workshops and things like that. Substack, I actually recently joined. It's only been 30 days since I've joined Substack, so I'm very new.
Nice.
And I'm here because I am interested in sharing this with more people. I love the clients that I have, the one-on-one clients, the group programs are excellent, but I want to get this out to more people. I think more people need it. It's missing in, especially in corporate. It's so missing. I worked in corporate for 20 years and I've never been through any type of training or any type of, even the coaches that I had when I was in corporate did nothing like this. They never talked about emotions. They never talked about this. The executive coach that I had when I was an executive myself was helping me with my to-do list. What are you going to do to drive results? What are you going to do to hit your goals? What are you going to do to make your manager's job easier? Those kinds of things, which, okay, those are the byproducts. But let's first focus on what you are experiencing. Let's figure out how we can get you out of this survival mode, because that's what's happening. Most people are operating in survival mode. They're
Yeah.
operating from, and when our survival mode, kicks in, we don't feel safe. And so all of the things that we're doing is out of stress. It's a stress response, right? And people have different types of stress responses. Either they will fight, right? So you've heard of fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Fight,
Angriness.
yeah, fight means I'm going to double down. I'm going to just do more. I'm going to do more. I'm going to overachieve. I'm going to keep going. Or they push back and say, I'm not going to do that. And it's more of this like aggressive pushback. They quit their jobs without really knowing what they want, or they have conflict at work, those kinds of things. Or they freeze up completely. They're like, I just don't know what to do. And so they don't do anything. And they let
Yeah.
everyone else make decisions for them. Right? They're like, oh, I'll just stay in this job until someone tells me that there's something better. Right? They keep spinning their wheels, not really doing anything. Or there's flight where they run away. They're like, all right, I can't deal with this. It's so uncomfortable that they then have to run away. And so what ends up happening is, someone who might jump from one job to the next, and they still feel the same, no matter which job they go to, even if they've gotten promoted and done all the things that they thought were the things that were going to fix everything. But because they haven't fixed or looked at their own emotions, their thought patterns, their survival patterns, they can't break those and they take them with them every place they go.
I think because they asking themselves during the day or during their job, how can I survive or control my emotion? Because if I take decision right away of angriness or to quit or to do something bad in the job, it's gonna be bad, so they start doing as a controlling, they're thinking they're controlling their emotions, but it's cumulative, they're combining, collecting all the bad emotions during the years, and then after the fact, like after 2 3 years, they're gonna be ending up like out of scope, and they are like, really they don't know how to read their emotions. So as a practical ways, like during the day, if something bad happened, how we can control our emotions in a way they get back positive to us, not a bad impact to us. Because it's very important. Like people, they don't know how to control it in a good way to get back to them.
That's the work, right? That's
Yeah.
the work, and it really is. I mean, there's lots of tools and things out there that can help you. So it's going to be slightly different for everyone, but there's some simple things that I can share. So one thing, if you're in the moment, right, something is happening right now. Someone is saying something to you that is really triggering you, right? Maybe it's an email that you get sent. Well, first of all, if it's an email, that's a little bit easier, right? You can not respond right away, right? You can step away from it, or you can write the email and not send it, right? Write them back an email, but you don't send it. You hold off, wait 24 hours. 24 hours later, you come back and say, okay, do I still feel the same way? Do I still want to, is there anything I want to change in this email? And most likely you're going to change what you've written, because that initial reaction, that anger, the whatever that was coming up is now going to dissipate. And now you can think clearer and you can now respond in a more effective way. But if it's someone that's standing in front of you and they're saying something that's triggering you, buy yourself some time. I mean, literally, there's little things that you can do. Go to the bathroom. I got to go use the restroom. Excuse me. You go to the restroom, few minutes, 5 minutes. Let
Mm.
yourself kind of calm down. Go for a quick little walk. Drink some water. Someone says something in a meeting and it's really triggering you. You have something to drink, drink something. That buys you a little extra time for you to calm your nervous system down and breathe. Breath work, that's something that, a lot of people talk about, but it's something that we've been given. It's a natural gift that we've been given that allows us to very quickly connect our subconscious to our conscious mind. When we take that deep breath, that real conscious, okay, I'm going to take that breath before I respond to you. Just that alone can lower our trigger response. And it's something as simple as that. And then for longer things, when you have a little bit more time, you're not in the moment, but there's something you want to work on. I always recommend journaling. Journaling, writing things down is such a huge tool. It's
Yeah.
so simple and so effective. I had a leader yesterday that I was working with, and she was spiraling. There's all these thoughts and worries and things that she has to do. She has a lot to do. As an executive, she has a lot on her plate. I get it. So I asked her, if she were to write things down, what would happen, right? So it's like a little brain dump. So we did a brain dump where she set a timer and she wrote down every thought, every question, every worry, anything that was coming up in her mind. She would write it down. And there's no
Right.
judgment. It's anything that comes to your mind, you're writing it down, writing it down. Okay, it's a to-do list, write it down. Is it a worry? Write it down. I'm worried about my son. I'm worried about my son getting, getting into school. I'm worried about this, or I don't know about my employee who's doing this, or I don't know about, whatever it is, you write it down, write it down, write it down. And pretty soon it's going to start slowing down and the thoughts come, but you're going to still wait with the timer. You're going to still keep writing. And then when either that timer goes off or you're done, like the thoughts have stopped, then you can stop and look. And then you can start eliminating things. Okay, what are some things that are, you don't need to carry this right now? Maybe these are things that, yeah, they're worries. There's something that you have to think about. Do you need to think about them today? Is there anything that you could do about this right now? Or can you take this off your plate for today?
Yeah.
So, if you could just start doing a little bit of that and organizing your mind a little bit, organizing the thoughts that are coming in, that can help to kind of calm you down and put you back in the driver's seat.
I think we have a question for Should Deep. I think spelling her name correctly. She's saying that I'm so focused on feeling safe right now. That's my first priority. Would it change once I'm no longer in survival mode?
Yes, but part of it is how is getting yourself out of survival mode. It's not when I get there. It's what are we doing now to make yourself feel safe? What can you do now that's in your control? Because when we're in survival mode, it's because we're focusing on what's out of our control. We don't feel safe because we're thinking about, oh, what if I get laid off? What if this happens? Those things are out of your control. You cannot predict what's going to happen. I had another leader I spoke to recently who had exceeds expectations on her review for the last few years, and still she wasn't safe. Her job was eliminated. That is completely out of your control. So what can we do? We got to get back into, okay, what is in your control? Well, first of all, the very immediate is breath. Get back to your breath. Do a couple things to get back into your body. So we got to get out of our heads because that's what's keeping us stuck. We're living in our minds and we got to get back into our bodies. What that means is go do something where you're moving your body. I mean, literally, you got to get these emotions out of your body. If you're feeling unsafe, it's stuck in your body. It's an emotion that's stuck in somewhere inside of your body. So go release it.
Yeah, I think also there's like an idea people are not aware of. It's like when we have a bad day and we achieve something good, we do something good for 15, 20 minutes. This is an achievement. This is a win. Even in our bad days, if we do something good or we're helping someone or whatever, like taking rest or reset or just like thinking about the bad thoughts that we had, the bad emotions, how to release it, like barely 15 to 20 minutes. It's gonna be an added value to your growth, and you continue even in your day-to-day basis, like when you go to the job and you do like critical decisions, making strategic also strategic solving problem or whatever. It's still a win because you know when your bad days hits, and then you figure out how to solve it in a like short time or part, or like you know the problem is like not um so don't look at your problem in a big picture, you know. Try to frame it and compose it in the small parts, which is uh affect your, you know, your how to view things. So perception also, it's a big part of the game, right? Like how to see things.
Absolutely, and I think what I'm hearing you mention is a concept called catastrophizing an issue, right? So something
Yes, big
happens, right?
thing.
Right, something happens, something goes wrong, you're disappointed, and all of a mistake happens, and all of a sudden you catastrophize it. Oh my goodness, this is the end of the world. Versus saying, okay, this thing happened. Yes, it's not good. It's not whatever. Or maybe it's not even good or bad. It's just it's something that happened. Okay. All right. What can I learn from this? Okay, I feel bad. Take a moment to just acknowledge that it doesn't feel good to make a mistake. It doesn't feel good to be disappointed. It's fine to just say, okay, I am disappointed right now because I had this expectation and this happened. Okay. All right. What's in my control? What can I control right now? Can I control what anyone else does? No. What can I control? I can control how I feel. All right. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go and, take a walk right now. I'm going to go and just take like a couple of minute break and walk away. I'm going to go drink some, coffee. I'm going to go whatever it is that's going to, in the moment, kind of recenter you and bring you back to reality really is that this is just like a blip on the map of whatever else is out there available to you and the course of your life, right? So it's like when we get stuck in the weeds of like, oh, this thing happened and oh, now it's gonna ruin my life. But is it really? 99.9999% of the time, it's not going to ruin your life. But we think it is in that moment. But if we can stop catastrophizing and see it for what it is, it's a moment in time. It is something that happened. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. It doesn't really matter. It happened, but I can learn something from it. What can I now do to learn from it and get better and keep moving, keep going?
And for the worst case scenario, when there we start asking ourselves what would be the worst case scenario, is this is really helpful?
Uh, I'm so glad you asked that. A lot of overthinkers, overanalyzers do that. And
Yeah.
by the way, that is me too. It's not like I'm free of all of these things.
Yeah.
I that trap too, where we think about the worst case scenario. It's not necessarily a bad thing to think about that. It's
Okay.
when we get stuck on the worst case and we think the worst case is the most likely thing to happen. It's a different question to say what could happen versus what is likely to happen, right?
Okay.
Possibility is not the same thing as probability,
Yeah.
right? So, asking, okay, what's the worst case scenario? That's fine just for that your mind to say, because sometimes we're just uncertain, right? And the uncertainty is what is stressing us out. We don't know. I don't know what's going to happen and I need to know. Our brains hate surprises. Okay? We hate them. We would rather accept a bad outcome if we knew about it versus not knowing what's going to happen.
Okay. And concerning, I have another question related to the performance in general at the job. Um, I see also some like people, they don't have a goal oriented in the job. It means like if they give me a raise, let it be. If they don't give me a raise, let it be. You know, like working 9 to 5. There's no goal oriented. There's no. They don't know how to shift. You know, like toward their goal or what they want from all of this, from the 9 to 5, from the business, from whatever they do. So how do you deal with these type of clients? They don't have the passion of like finding their goal in life.
Well, what I would say is there's nothing necessarily wrong with just having a 9 to 5, going to your work, clocking in, clocking out, whatever it is, and collecting your paycheck. For some people, that's fine, right? If you're satisfied, your
Yes.
life, great, because you probably have passions and things and interests outside of that, and which is great. And some people that works really well. But for a lot of folks, especially high performers, especially the people that I work with, they want to merge those things, right? They want to do work that is really purposeful, that is meaningful, that is exciting, that allows them to have some sort of creative expression. And when there's a misalignment there, that's when they get demotivated, where they're like, okay, I'm doing this thing, but I don't actually want to keep doing it because I don't understand how this is connected to anything deeper than whatever it is. And that's not something that your employer can give you. You have to figure that out for yourself. So what you can do is, well, first of all, get really clear on what do you really want. And outside of this job, like don't even think about the job. Job is limiting when we think about, oh, what job do I want? Forget about that. What kind of life do you want? What kind of life do you want? How do you want to be experiencing on a day to day? What kind of life do you want to be experiencing? What kind of activities? What do you want to be feeling? What do you want more of in your life? And then think about what kind of job would help you to live that kind of life. If it's the job that you're doing right now and you might be thinking, okay, well, maybe it's I'm off completely off base and the work that I want to do is something completely different, right? But it's going to take you time to get there. Maybe that's that. Or sometimes it's the job is fine. It's not that there's anything wrong when you don't need to change anything. It's just about aligning what really matters to you with the work and looking at your job and say, okay, if I were to stay here for the next, 3 or 2 years or whatever you've committed to, what part of this job can meet my needs that I have right now that I've clarified for myself? This is what's important to me. Maybe it's I really want to be creative, or I really want to grow and learn something, or I want to connect with people, and I want to have really strong, awesome relationships with people. Whatever it is, okay. Now look at your career or your job and say, okay, how can where are there opportunities for me to make this connection? Where are opportunities for me to learn and grow from this job? Where are opportunities for me to, build a certain skill or whatever it is that you're wanting to do? I guarantee that there's something that you probably could get from your current job that you're not accessing right now.
So we can shift our emotional intelligence into a good tool just to maximizing our output or our objective, or if we miss the sales skills as an example, or like some mental progress or growth. So we can do that like by reframing emotional intelligence into a critical tools that they can help us during the day. That's what I yeah.
Emotional intelligence is the foundation. I mean, that is the thing that, without it, you're really limiting your success, your happiness, all of that. It's the foundation. Um, if you're only the thing is when we go to school, when we go to the people that I work with are really smart, educated people, master's degrees, PhDs. These are really smart people. But guess what? In school, they don't teach you how to raise your emotional intelligence. They're teaching you how to learn a skill, a technical skill. They're teaching you, certain things that, okay, that was the thing that maybe got you your foot in the door, right? Of whatever job or company you wanted to work for. Great. Now what? The rest of the way, that's going to be your emotional intelligence. The way that you keep showing up. If you want to stay in the game and you want to uh, continue being successful, you want to continue feeling great about the work that you do, you have to tap into your emotional intelligence. If you want to build strong relationships and have a community of people who rally around you, who want to promote you, who want to help you, who want to, where you feel connected, that's emotional intelligence too. Right. So the people who are just focused on doing the job and checking a box, and they're not interested in really expressing any of the either their emotional intelligence that they have, or they don't maybe have, maybe there's a limited capacity for different domains of their EQ. That's going to
Yeah.
limit. That's going to limit you.
Yes, but I mean, so it's okay in general. It's okay sometimes to feel like we have a small objective to reach, just like having the 9 to 5, go and
Absolutely.
work and come back. And it's okay just to done small things and just like do not put this pressure on us because this is gonna burn us quickly. That's what I was thinking like 5 years ago or 6 years ago. I was like, go big, go, go, go. And then okay, just slow down, realizing what are my capabilities. And now I'm reframing again to go big because I was like now mature enough to know what I need. So this is how you can change the perspective from being like, having a decent objective to like unstoppable energy with like unstoppable capabilities. So it's okay just like to swallow every period in your life in order just to define and have this explanation in your head. That's right.
Well, thanks for asking that. I think that's a really good, valid question. There are phases of life. There are phases that we're all different phases that we're in. So we can't say that one thing is going to work for everyone, depending on the phase of life that you're in. And we go through cycles, just like nature goes through cycles. We are part of nature, and we go through cycles. We go through cycles where there's growth, where we're growing, 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 and then we're stabling, kind of steady, it's just status quo. Then we are kind of going downwards, and where maybe we're letting go, where it's the fall autumn period where we're letting go of things that maybe don't help us anymore. And then there's a period of hibernation, right? We go through a period of a winter where we're hibernating. We don't want to do anything to grow, and we just want to stay cozy and keep
Yep.
our 9 to 5 job or whatever it is. That is fine. And then all of a sudden spring comes back around, and now you're ready to grow again. And so asking yourself, which phase of life am I in right now? What do I want? And it's okay if you're in the hibernation. If you're okay if you're in a different phase as the someone next to you, right? Because everyone is going to be in a every different part of their own journey.
Yes. And like sometimes I think would be the last question related to take some rest once we are outside of the job. Like some people, they take the job with them outside of their desk. You know what I mean? Take the emails, take the calls. How can we shift and separate the life inside the job and our life outside? Is there any work life balance, as they said, or there's like no equation at all?
I think there's a huge value in setting boundaries for your work, your personal life, all is there's high value in doing that, but it's going to look different for everyone, right? For entrepreneurs, sometimes it gets a little bit fuzzier, right? Because you're kind of working all the time, but maybe you're taking breaks all the time too, right? So that's fine if you're working a total 9 to 5, or you're actually going into the office. That's sometimes a little bit easier to delineate. Okay, I'm done with the work, and now I'm going home. Um, when you're working from home, it gets a little bit blurry again, but it's really important to find the times to disconnect. I think disconnection is the thing. And it's not just from work, it's disconnecting from a lot of things. It's disconnecting from being online, being disconnected from social media, being disconnected from your phone, being disconnected from just have people accessing you, just disconnecting so that you can be still, so that you can listen to yourself, so that you can quiet the brain, quiet it down. You need that. We all need that. That's a huge piece, and it's also it's important to reset yourself every day. If we're not doing that, and we're not resetting, then again we're starting off the next day with a lower charged battery. It starts all over again. So
Yes. So
that reset starts with holding a boundary and saying, okay. And sometimes what can be helpful is like having some type of like some alert, like some type of letting you know, okay, I am now even if you're at home, like I work from home, But is there something that you can do that says, okay, it's an alarm that goes off, or it's like I put on some, I put on a jacket that says, okay, I'm now work mode. There's these little clues that tell us, okay, I'm shifting from one place to the next, maybe from one identity to the next, even, right? Like now I'm putting my mom hat on. Now I'm putting my entrepreneur hat on. Now I'm putting my, whatever, employee 9 to 5 job hat on. What are those things that you can that will help you to then kind of step into that identity?
Shift, yeah, shift from a friend to another. I think should keep saying, I feel like I'm in all of them at the same time. This is why we are here, just to helping you go through all of this. I think this is gonna be, I hope that gonna be valuable to everyone is listening, which is we're here to collab and do as much as we can. And do you have any last words to the people that gonna follow you, subscribe, what you offer, and have last words?
Yeah, I would just want to say, welcome, and I'm really excited to meet all of you and whoever ends up kind of joining my community and following my work. I would love to just hear from you. I want to hear what are some of the struggles that you're experiencing, and what are some things that would really help you. Let's have a dialogue. I encourage you to stick around because I will be launching my assessment very soon. You and I talked about that, the 9 frequencies that are really important. If you're dialed into these 9 leadership frequencies, that's when you're really operating at your highest self. And so all of my subscribers will be getting access to that very shortly.
Nice. Excited to see that, and for more collaboration for the next time for sure.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
so much, because I think it's very valuable episode. And I hope for, next sessions together to switch the subjects and talk about like more things. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Elaine.